If you find yourself in the store thinking, yes, I would love to spend 17.5k doubloons on the Graf Zeppelin, or 26.5k doubloons on the fancy package for the Graf Zeppelin, I invite you to exit the store, go to the bureau, and start either this Kaga project or this Saipan project. Either one of these premium Tier 7 carriers are far superior to the Graf Zeppelin in every way. Now, this is just a first impressions video. I will add, I do intend to play the Graf Zeppelin a little bit more. I haven't played it all that much, but what I have played, well, I have a couple of thoughts about it, and I wanted to get these thoughts out there into the community. Full disclosure, if you've watched my stuff before, you probably know that I think carriers, by and large, are a bad thing for this game. I don't think they should exist in this game, and I don't particularly like the CV class, but I recognize that the CV class does have some fans out there, and there are some people who like to play CVs. And the Graf Zeppelin, this CV has, for whatever reason, been massively hyped ever since CVs came to this game. I think there have been various people in the forums asking for the Graf Zeppelin. They wanted it to come, and I'm not sure why, honestly. Last year, back in November, I bought some Black Friday crates on PC, and out of those crates, I pulled the Graf Zeppelin Bravo. Graf Zeppelin B, Graf Zeppelin Black, whatever you want to call it. I got that out of a crate on PC. I played it for about 5-6 games before I determined that it was very underwhelming and not good, and I never played it again. And I did not expect anything great from the version of the Graf Zeppelin that we eventually got in World of Warships Legends. Now, from what I can tell, the reason the Graf Zeppelin has been so overhyped is because of the fact that it's German and people think it should have good secondaries. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it does not. I'm running a full secondary build on the Graf Zeppelin in this video, with Franz von Hipper as one of the inspirations and the secondary mod. I suppose it's not a full secondary build because I don't have the secondary reload mod on this CV, but I do have the range mod and Hipper as an inspiration. And with that, I can get the range of these secondaries out to, I think, 5.76 kilometers, it said, which is entirely useless. You have to be right on top of the enemy in order to get them to fire. Even if they do fire, you couldn't accuse them of being accurate, like, say, the Massachusetts secondaries, or even something like the Brandenburg or anything like that. The dispersion seems way wonkier, and I think at the end of this game I'm going to end up getting 14 hits with them. Maybe I'm going to do 1,000 damage. So, I mean, theoretically you could division with a destroyer in the Graf Zeppelin and have the DD smoke you up near an enemy ship to try to use the secondaries, but you might get to do that at the very tail end of the game. You're not going to have really any success with it, though. It's just not going to happen for you. The secondaries are just not here. So if you were looking to get the Graf Zeppelin because you expected it to be a, quote, secondary carrier, it is absolutely not that. It is a German carrier, and as such, it does have torpedoes that I think, as you've seen thus far, can be quite effective against destroyers. They can be effective against battleships, too. Since they're German, they are pretty quick, and you drop 3 of them at one time. They have some decent alpha, and a fairly okay chance to cause floods, from what I can tell. But your other ordnance choice is, of course, armor-piercing bombs, which, as I've said in the past, I think are BS. I don't think you should be able to score citadel damage from the sky, but if you are going to be equipped with armor-piercing bombs, I would hope they're at least as decent as the Parsifals, and I don't think the Graf Zeppelins are. For one, the Parsival drops 3 bombs. I think it does, anyway. The Graf Zeppelin only drops 2. The Parsival's reticule on the bombs is like an oval that you can fit over a bow or stern-in ship, and most of that reticule, when it's fully zoomed in or tightened, whatever you want to call it, will cover the entirety of the ship. leaving not a lot of water for your bombs to hit, but as you can see with this circle, pretty much no matter where you put it on a ship, even a ship as big as the Republique, there will be water showing inside the reticule, and it seems like these 2 AP bombs are bound and determined to avoid the hull of whatever ship you drop them on and fall right into the water, and even if they do hit the hull, they don't always cause citadels. In fact, I barely have gotten any citadels out of these AP bombs. They just don't seem to have the same punching power as the Parsifals. So all in all, I feel like this is a completely mediocre CV in its current state. There's absolutely no way I would be buying it if I did not have it. Of course, it was given to me or loaned to me by Wargaming, I'm not sure which. So I will keep the CV. I will continue to play it every now and then whenever I feel like taking a CV, and I'll see if my opinion on it changes at all. I've only played a handful of games in it, so again, this is just first impressions, but the first impressions aren't good. I just wouldn't recommend it, and because it is a tier 7 premium that you can buy outright for doubloons in the store, the price is a little bit more expensive, well, a lot more expensive than a tier 6 premium that you could just buy directly for doubloons, and you do have those 2 freemium alternatives in the Bureau with the Kaga and the Saipan. If you want to get those tier 7 premium carriers, all you have to do is essentially wait out the Bureau project, or if you want to interact with it, you can grind whatever ships you need to gain research points quicker. And if you do that, I think at the end of it, you'll come out much more satisfied with either one of those CVs, both of which are pretty good. Another big problem that I don't like with the Graf Zeppelin's planes is that they seem to take forever to turn, unlike most of the other planes in this game. Like, you drop your ordnance, you want to turn around and come in for a second pass, well, you're going to spend like 15-20 seconds turning all the way around while you're inside the AA bubble of your target, and your planes are just going to get shot down. It feels clunky, unmaneuverable, and not very good. And here you can see the secondaries in action at the very end when we're about to be sunk. They probably do a combined total of maybe 1,000 damage to this Republique, and then we go down and we lose. Not a very impressive game at all, but also I don't think this is a very impressive CV, and frankly, I think this is sort of the average of what you can probably expect from it. So, unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend this. Republique, of course, is fantastic. This, not so much. So, let me know what you think in the comments, if you think I'm missing something or completely wrong, or if you feel the same way after having bought the Graf Zeppelin. And give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.